Hello Reformers and welcome back to Mountain Blade Warband. Now before we get started, I just gotta let you know that this episode right here, this is probably gonna be one of those update episodes. You know, it's not really gonna be anything where we do anything amazing, but it is going to be a little bit of a progression episode where we're gonna fight a couple of bandits and things like that. Because I've been waiting for a couple of in-game days now, letting my trainer skill do the work, and well, nothing's happened. No, there's no declarations of war or anything like that, and I don't really have a lot of time today, so I have to get going with this, and I don't know what to do, really. I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes Warband just doesn't give you anything, you have to create your own situations, and this is what I'm doing, obviously. Now, the cool thing about this is that the desert bandits are actually pretty numerous with 41. I'm actually kind of surprised about that, but, well, let's go. I have a lot of veteran footmen, I have a lot of regular footmen, a lot of regular archers, have no Mamluks, and I don't have any Swadian knights either. I have given all of my top tier units into the garrison at Nara because, well, there's not really any need for me to take something that was already leveled up, right? So basically what I'm going to be doing, this episode is a precursor to the inevitable creation of our faction. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next episode after this one, if you want to skip this one, that is when we will be creating our faction. I am almost certain about that. I could be wrong. It depends on whether there is a declaration of war, whether we can take advantage of that declaration of war or not. If we can't, then obviously I will be creating our own faction. So yeah, it seems like it's kind of a foregone conclusion right now. But the main thing that I want to do is just get prepared with the amounts of units that we have in the garrison at Nara. So this group is the third group of units that I have leveled up, and that will be probably, maybe I'm not entirely sure. Is that enough? I don't know. Is it enough to have about 280 units that are reasonably high level? I mean, obviously we have about, 35 Mamluks, which is amazing. That's pretty good. And then, of course, we do have the Swadian Knights. They take a little bit longer to level up, so I only have about 8 of those. But I do have a number of man-at-arms. Obviously man-at-arms we have in our army right now, so, they are obviously going to be a little bit easier. And, oh, okay, so I'm just going to tell these guys just to charge in here and take out those last 2 desert bandits. Thank you very much. But yeah, as you can see, our money is skyrocketing up. That is also a thing that we have to take into account. If we are going to create our own faction very, very soon, we have to make sure that our wages are taken care of. Now, what I think I might do, when I'm running around and when I am allowing my trainer skill to basically do its job, I'm going to also be running around to various towns and seeing whether we have bought enterprises there, basically. So I'm going to take a look at my, well, what is it now? What is it now? The weekly budget, I think it's what it's called. Yeah, the weekly budget. I'm going to go and take a look at that, and then that will tell me where I have, weavery and dye works and things like that. I would also hire those hired blades if I had space. Wait, do I have space? Some of them actually did die. Yeah, I can hire one of them. Well, that's a bit of unfortunateness, isn't it? Unfortunateness. Yes, that's what I just said. Fantastic. Okay, well, let's get some man-at-arms there, and we're going to just, literally, all I'm going for right now is just cavalry. Because I have a feeling that it won't matter whether we are effective in sieges or not, because that's the thing. We're going to be taking a lot of casualties no matter what happens. And even if we have a huge amount of archers or whatever, those archers are probably not going to be able to penetrate whoever's shield is on the other side, because, I mean, we're using Saranid archers. They're not the best, they're not great. And I think that's partially the reason why I'm going to be doing this instead, because if we have just a huge amount of some kind of unit, for example, cavalry, we will be able to dominate the field battles. And the field battles are going to be quite important because they are going to send a lot of units after us. They are going to send a lot of units. And those units will no doubt want to participate in field battles. I mean, there's going to be, I don't know, probably 600, 700 units at once. And that's something that I don't think we can deal with if we have a balanced army, you know what I mean? So if we have a huge amount of infantry, or shall we say, let's just say, you know, my plan originally was to have 30, 30, 30 or something, you know, reasonably similar to that. So 30 infantry, 30 archers, 30 cavalry. Let's just say that I was going to have that. And then we go up against an army of 300 or 400 units, and we're not going to be able to do that because they're just going to rush us. They're just going to rush us. Our archers will be unable to basically do anything. Our infantry will get swarmed, and the only people that have mobility would probably either be horse archers, which obviously we have none of, or we could go for something like a full cavalry army, which is what I'm attempting to do now. But now I know, you know, full cavalry armies, they're pretty boring, but they are effective. And we do have to think of effectiveness in, in this situation, because once we have solidified our sort of claim on our territory, wherever that may be. I'm just looking for some desert bandits right now, by the way. There's only 7 there. I was actually quite lucky to find a party of 41, hilariously enough. But yes, anyway. If we think about solidifying our territory to begin with, and then we start expanding, and once we have expanded successfully, I think we'll have a much easier time of, switching our army composition. I mean, the army composition is not set in stone. It's always malleable. We can always change it in some way or another. So, for those of you that want to say to me, oh, cavalry's boring and so on and so forth. Yeah, I know. It is, it is pretty steamroll-ish, and that's absolutely fine for being effective in this kind of situation, because we are going up against the odds. We're going up against the odds. And if we decide to defect and then the Sarranids declare war against us, and because Nara is, used to be a Khergit fief, then maybe the Khergits will also declare war against us. And I'm not entirely sure whether they can do joint sieges. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen that, so I highly doubt that they can do joint sieges. But the point is that we don't really want a train situation. Do you know what I mean by a train situation? When there's a huge amount of vassals outside your fief, and I don't know, by some miracle you fight them back. So let's say let's say you have about 100 units like we have right now, and let's say you're fighting against a force of, fighting against a force of, 250 or something like that. A doable amount, pretty doable amount where, you have some pretty decent high-tier units, medium to high-tier units. And let's say you fight them off. And then as soon as you've fought those 250 off, they give you no time whatsoever to recuperate your forces. And instead, the other faction that you are also at war against decides to send their forces against you as well. And then you have to deal with a larger force of, let's say 350 or something along those lines. That's what I mean by a train, just people coming in and in and in, and they just want to continue sieging you. And that is the kind of thing that I want to kind of avoid, because if we have a huge amount of cavalry, which is obviously my plan at the moment, then we'll be able to hopefully succeed in eliminating anyone that tries to siege, because we'll be able to tackle them on the fields of battle rather than in the defensive structure of a fief. Now, obviously, if you think about it, a defensive structure of a fief is obviously going to make a big difference to how effective your units are going to be, but it really depends on the defensive structure, And I am just laughing absolutely so much here because of this desert bandit. And this is exactly what I mean. This is maybe the reason why you would probably not want to grind in the Sarranid territory. Let me tell you, that 41 party, I actually had them over here. I spotted them over here, and then they ran me all the way over here to Cherise. So yeah, you can kind of tell that these guys are absolutely trolling me right now. I mean, literally, look at this. They are trolling me around the houses. I might get him. No, apparently not. Everyone's making peace, by the way, as well. So it's It's become quite a stagnant and static Calradia, which is something I'm not particularly fond of. Oh, and lovely. Oh, lovely. Aren't you lovely, Boyar Reichsin? Alright, well, considering I'm in the north now, yes, I'm in the north now, I suppose it would be, a good idea to, get some food, and we're going to go and fight some sea raiders and things like that. But as I say, this isn't going to be a very long episode because, well, as I say, I don't really have much to do, but I was basically just wanting to talk over with you all, what I was planning on doing, because it's going to take me a little bit more time off screen, and as I say, I don't really have a lot of time right now. But I will a little bit later on, so I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more off screen. And I did say just now, a lottle. Yes, a lottle bit. Yes, exactly. If you caught that, then congratulations. Yes. Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, probably going to be doing a little bit more off screen there, and then I'll be ready for, next time when I record, which will obviously be the amazing creation of our faction. And obviously, this is also a good thing that we're in the north here, because I can actually check Wurcheg. Now, obviously, I did originally have the plan to take Wurcheg as our initial fief, because, well, nostalgia, nostalgia's sake. And they only have 11 Huskarls here, but they do have 72 veterans and 96 warriors, which is insane. I don't think we would be able to take that with an army of 104, unfortunately. And I'm actually hoping that when we actually do become king, that our company size is going to increase, because I seem to remember in certain mods, I'm not entirely sure whether this happens in native, can't remember exactly, because it was a long time ago, but I'm not entirely sure whether your army size increases when you become king in native. I think it does in things like Novaitis and maybe Flores as well, but I don't know about native. Now, this is what I'm talking about. These sea raiders, they will never escape us. They are just too slow, which is fantastic. So let's do a little bit of fighting with these guys. Now, I have, well, actually quite a lot of infantry, but yeah, I don't really mind too much. Let's just wait for them around here. I don't really want to lose units frivolously, because the whole point of me fighting bandits is to level them up and not to lose them, of course. So I think this will probably be the final battle of this episode, and then we'll be ending it off. And you can anticipate, oh yes, you can anticipate the next episode, which will obviously be, I hope, cross fingers, cross your fingers, which I hope will be the faction creation. Alright, let's do this. I'm going to just charge everyone in. It seems like maybe I can just distract them a little bit and, just head in here and do a little bit of damage. And maybe just, kind of give them a little bit to think about, because Barney is obviously here. And everyone knows Barney, everyone knows Barney as being the guy that will fall off stairs, fall off battlements, go crowd surfing when he feels like it, and obviously take javelins in the face. He will get shot in the face. He will get polearmed in the face, piked in the face, all kinds of things in the face. Don't know why. People seem to have a face, a face sort of, what is it? Fascination. Face fascination. Face fascination. Yes. They seem to have a face fascination with Barney for some reason. Maybe it's the magnificent moustache. Perhaps it is. Who knows? But there you go. That was obviously very easy. I'm just going to be doing a little bit more of that off screen as well. But yeah, I was basically just being lazy before I started recording here because, well, our trainer skill is actually not even that bad. It leveled up about 23 footmen in a day, so I think that was pretty decent. Anyway, we're just going to continue leveling these up here. 9 Saranid Mamluks. Look at the Mamluks. They level up so fast. I personally feel like the Saranid units are actually pretty decent, although they're decidedly average, They're not particularly good in any way, shape, or form, but they're not particularly bad either. And the Mamluks are actually just one little step below the Swadian Knights, as far as I'm aware, so that's pretty cool. They do take a little bit longer, the Swadian Knights to actually level up anyway. So yes, with that, I thank you very much for watching this small sort of podcast, I guess, podcast edition of Mount and Blade Warband. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, then terribly sorry, but that's just how things go sometimes. I thank you very much once again, and I will see you next time.